Welcome to the first edition of the series of modding tutorials. This is for Skyrim VR in particular, but however, this can be used in different games as well. This is mainly for the new players of Skyrim VR. First off, I'd like to say at any point in this video, if it helped you, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this, as well as VR roleplay and funny moments content. Before we truly begin though, I want to say that I will create a guide on Mod Organizer 2 as well as Zmerge in the future. I'd also like to note Vortex is a personal preference of mine, as you will see through the mod list that I have. If there are any other games that you would like me to cover that I own anyway, I will help you with your modding endeavors for that game as well. If you haven't downloaded Vortex and haven't created an account or have never even associated with Nexus mods, where have you been? For one. And two, make an account with Nexus and then download Vortex. Go to nexusmods.com and you'll be brought to this main page. And to find Vortex, you hit support, install Vortex, and then you download the latest version. Once you've installed Vortex, you'll want to sign in with Vortex and you'll be with your account on your dashboard. I have a premium account, so that will help me with downloads in the future. And I have a premium account, which will help me in the future with the big boy mods, with those extremely large files, because they could last and take forever. And the same could be said for other mods, like games like Blade and Sorcery. The Outer Rim mod, it's over a gig, and it takes a while with the free version of the Nexus subscription. I recommend it if you just want a faster download, but the free's just fine too. Now I'm going to assume you've done your sign in and you've downloaded the Vortex and you're looking at a blank screen. Normally it will ask you to find the games, but if you cannot find the game you want to manage, you go to games and you select the one you want to manage. There are plenty and plenty of games you can manage. All you gotta do is just hover over, click manage. Like I can do this with Code Vein, 7 Days to Die, the Master Chief Collection, or Stardew Valleys, and so on. There's so many games you can mess with. Now going back to the dashboard, you have your profile set, your Skyrim VR ready to be modded, but it's not complete just yet. I want you to create a new profile. Go to Profiles, add a Skyrim VR profile, make sure you are using a clean save with no mods at all, 0 mods installed, 0 mods enabled, just so you have that unbroken mod list, which is empty for the future in case you need to go back to it. And I messed up here on my end because I was using my default by accident when I wanted to use Wolfram with my test one, and I accidentally used my default, which is supposed to be the vanilla, when I modded my list. So that was a oops on my end. I recommend you make a profile when you install Vortex and want to create a mod list for yourself. And this is in case something happens with your modded profile and you need to go back and do something with it or adjust something, a part of your vanilla game that you haven't noticed in the vanilla game or the modded game. There's just so many things you could do, as well as even make other playthroughs. So if I wanted to make another VR roleplay playthrough and not use Wolfram, I would enable it instead. And there are 2 extensions I recommend downloading. So go to the extensions tab, scroll all the way down. Normally you won't find it here at all. For me, it's back here. It's down here, Mod List Backup and Xedit Cleaning Extension. All you gotta do is to find it is hit Find More. It'll pop up a list here, and there's so many you can download from. Just go through them, whatever game is for you or something of the sort, or just find the 2 that I found here, Mod List Backup and Xedit Cleaning Extension. Once your profile is set and you downloaded what the mods that you wanted to download, like all of these mods I've downloaded, for example, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to set a new mod list. However, I need to have the prerequisites for these mods, and there's 2 that the majority of these will have. That is Skyrim Script Extender for VR, or SKSEVR, and SkyUI Beta. All the links for these will be found below, by the way. First and foremost, before downloading the two mods, make sure your Vortex mod directory and your Vortex download directory is easily accessible. So go to settings, go to mods, and make sure this is where you want it at, as well as your downloads. For SKSEVR, the script extender is crucial to your modding for many mods that you will encounter and will most likely want to download, such as Moonlight Tales or Sacrosanct VR or Vampire Overhaul. Overhauls normally require you to have a script extender, in this case SKSEVR. And to find SKSEVR, again, link will be in the description below, or you can just do this by hand if you want to, skse.silverlock.org, and you will want to find the VR build, the current VR build. Don't go for the classic build, that is for the old RIM, that is the first edition of Skyrim, and the SE build is for the special edition of Skyrim. We do download mods from the Skyrim special edition section of Nexus. However, the VR version and the SE version are still significantly different, so go for the VR build or you will break your game already. And you don't want that. Nobody wants that. And here's the step-by-step to installing your SKSEVR. Download the 7-zip or the RAR file, whichever it is. You open it and get it ready. Open it once more and you'll find all these contents. Then you go to your directory. For me, it is in my games drive, Steam library, Steam apps, common, and Skyrim VR, wherever that is. And right here, I will drag all these contents into this folder, and that'll be it. That's the installation for SKSEVR. That's all you got to do for SKSE. Now, I recommend creating a shortcut of the SKSEVR loader.exe to your desktop, which you could just right click and send to desktop, which will create a shortcut, and you'll have that ready to go. You will want to run SKSEVR loader instead of the SkyrimVR.exe from this point forward. Keep that in mind. But there's an easier way to do this in case you don't want to go through all the hassle and creating the desktop shortcut or finding it or whatever you want. This is what I do personally, just because it's easier for me. It comes in handy. Back in Vortex, you go to your dashboard, you hit add tool, new, you name it SKSEVR, and you want to find it with the target, SKSEVR loader.exe. It'll automatically put in the start for you. No command lines are needed, and you can set the icon if you want to, and that is it. You hit save, and it'll be there right there for you. Another thing I recommend doing is hitting the three little dots and hitting make primary. So when you hit the play button on the top left, underneath that profile, it will launch the SKSEVR and not the SkyrimVR exe. You can add other tools like FNIS, which is For's New Idols in Skyrim, or TS5 VR edit, or the Skyrim VR Fallout 4 configuration tool, and other kinds of things right here. All you gotta do is the same thing, hit add tool, new, and find the application you want to add, and it'll do it for you. And you can just run it right there. To install SkyUI VR, you need to go to the GitHub link. I will provide it in the description below, or you can just copy it manually here at github.com/od/skyui-vr/releases/tag, blah, yada, yada, yada. You go to this link, you hit this little box icon here with this little text, you click it, and you get your SkyUI VR beta. Then you can either drag it or manually install it. However, I suggest the dragging method. So go back to your Vortex, go to downloads, go back to your GitHub link, drag SkyUI VR, and drop the file in this little folder section down below underneath all of these downloads that I have. Once you do that, it'll install for you. It'll ask you to install. You hit install on the top right here by this bell. And once you've successfully installed it, you would hit enable, and it'll enable SkyUI VR. And that is it. That is all you got to do for SkyUI VR. It's rather simple, and it's one of the most necessary mods you need for plenty of the mods that you will probably download in the future. I will go more in depth about installations of specific mods on a later date if they're requested of me. If you have any specific ones you want to know how to install, or if you're having issues with, just comment them down below, because I know there are some mods that have issues installing, such as Wicco or Vision War Maidens or Vision All-in-One with Wicco or something of the sort. Just let me know in the comments if you want me to cover a specific mod or selection of mods to get them to work. Modding can be extensive and extremely vast. And I say this ironically, I try to minimize the mods I use, meaning less than 200 or 250. As currently, if you go back to my dashboard, I have 182 mods active, which this will be decreased by 2 later on. I try not to go past 200 or even 250. I just do not like that personally. Just try to keep it minimal. Again, ironically, minimal. The more the script heavy mods you have, the more strain it will have on your game, as well as longer load times. And such things that occur like this is not very satisfactory for you unless your computer can handle the necessary resources, such as the RAM, the graphics card, everything, especially for VR. VR is very demanding, much more demanding than the Skyrim Special Edition and Old RIM. But there are performance mods that you can install to help you with that, and I'll put those in a video in another date. Now, when you're installing mods, I suggest you install them one by one or in batches. But if you do it in batches, you'll have to find that's one mod that broke your mod list if you have a crash to desktop. So I sincerely suggest you just do one by one. Yes, this is more time consuming. However, once you do this, you will not have a broken Skyrim VR. And once you spend your hours upon hours of fixing your game, it's all worth it in the end. If you test your mods in batches and you know things will work and you got everything ready to go and all your mod list is pretty much perfect, now you just need to sort your load order. Sorting your load order is a completely different beast though. Normally with Vortex, it can do it for you. So you just go to your plugins and you just hit the sort now button. And it's simple. It has the same mechanism as Loot, the program that is pretty much incorporated inside Vortex, or you can just use Loot itself. I personally like to use Loot itself because I like to edit my mod list one by one, and then that's just a personal preference because I like to look inside and see what I could do, see what I can mix match, and see what works, or if I need to fix something that Vortex doesn't fix for me. Now, load order is crucial to your game. It could make or break your game. It could even make it better with patches. It could even make it much better once you get it all working. Be aware of what the files contain within your mods, whether it's an ESM file, an ESL file, or an ESP file. ESMs and ESPs are more common in these cases. Master files like the DLC cannot be adjusted or deleted, which if you try to delete them, I don't know why you're doing it. There's no point in it. When testing your mods one by one, enable and disable from the mods section of Vortex. So you just go to mods and enable and disable around here, or remove right here. Or you can just right click and hit reinstall if you need to reinstall it. If you are missing files after not looking through the descriptions, which is a common case, or simply forgetting, double click the mod in the plugins section. So for example, if I wanted Frostfall. Frostfall is a survival mod that requires a campfire ESM. I will show you by double clicking the ESP file, and underneath masters, it'll say campfire.esm. Normally, if it is not installed, it'll show up, it will have an orange box over it, and it'll tell you where it's at. So another example that I can currently show you is my Better Dynamic Snow. So if I search up CWIBDS patch, or whatever this is, Immersive College of Winterhold patch. It's missing a master. I do have it, but it's just not working. So I would double click it, or just click it once, and it's telling me I'm missing the Better Dynamic Snow ESP, which normally it will tell you what mod it is if you try to do it in the mod section. So Better Dynamic Snow, which I do have it, it's just being dumb. You can hover over it and it'll tell you all the details. But if I go to the College of Winterhold, the patches aren't there. See what I mean? You want to do this in the plugins. And if you want to visit the mod that you're looking for, just hit visit on nexusmods.com and it'll take you to the mod. If you need to find patches underneath something, you will encounter conflicting mods, which dependencies, or rules is the more common term, can fix that. But that will be discussed later on. If you encounter mods that conflict, check for patches on the Nexus or by reading the descriptions of the mods you are having issues with. Because again, that is a very common thing that people do, is not read the descriptions of the mods. Please read the descriptions. It will help you in the long run, and it can help you on the installation process. One tiny thing can really screw up your game if you mess it up. For load order, Vortex already has that sorting mechanism as I told you about, but now we're going to go ahead to loot. Loot is what I use, even though Vortex already has loot enabled. The load order system from Vortex and loot are not perfect. I just want to tell you this now. You may hit the sort button and think, I'm good, that's it. No need to do anything else. It should automatically know. But no, it does not. It's not exactly a perfect system. So I'm going to open my loot. I've opened loot and I've got 1 error and 23 warnings. 23 warnings are pretty much things about cleaning and stuff, which I personally don't care for. It doesn't really bug me that much, but the error does. In this case, it's the same thing as earlier. The Better Dynamic ESP is not there, which I do have it. It's just not, it's just being dumb. So when you go up here, you might have more errors, and that could simply be fixed by sorting your plugins, which is this button here. It will sort it for you and you won't have to do anything if you have 0 errors. Dirty plugins can be something else, and that can be covered in a different video if it's requested of me. But there are other people that do have solid videos on this as well. One thing I want to point out is that if you install mods on Vortex after you've opened loot, make sure you hit update master list. So it updates your mod list, which is essentially called your master list. And once you've done that, you go through it and make sure it's okay. 90% of the time it's okay. But in my case, with Wiko and Vision all-in-one, I've had issues. I wanted to have Wiko before Vision. I wanted Vision to come first. So in this case, I would edit the metadata, put the 3 little dots, load after, and I would find Wiko, or I would type Wiko. With the issue with Vision all-in-one and Wiko, I had to edit the metadata with this 3 little dots, edit metadata, go to load after, and you will have to manually type in what you wanted to load after. So for me, I just did Wiko, all 3 of the Wiko patches that I've seen, and there is one more I could put in here. Other patches will work with it too. So after that, you just hit save, and then hit your update master list again, and it will do it for you. It should fix it. Yes, it's fixed it for me. See, now Vision is after Wiko. You hit apply, and that's it. That's all you got to do with that. But you can do that also on Vortex with the dependencies. So if I go through here, see all these little lightning bolts right next to these. Normally, if I have issues, they would be red. Now let me show you an example. If I go to SMIM, or Static Mesh Improvement Mod, hit the little thunderbolt. There are so many things that are conflicting with it. However, you can adjust it by having this drop down, and a lot of the times it'll suggest things for you, but sometimes you will have to do it yourself. So for me, with SMIM, and underground foam mod, I selected I wanted static mesh mod before underground foam mod. And then once you've completed all your dependencies, all your rules, you hit save and you hit deploy. The rules and dependencies are important. This is another part of load order. This is actually technically load order. So if you're having issues with load order and you need to move some things, you can do it here. So if I wanted to adjust Wiko and Bidgen on here, I would find the mods. Normally I could just hit deploy order. Deploy order is the load order in a sense. So I would find it. I would find Wiko. There's Wiko. And I would find Bidgen. Oh, this is something else that can be talked about in a later video. But I would need to find Bidgen. So for Bidgen, I want Bidgen to load after Wiko. So if I go back to Bidgen, if I can find it, I would hold left click and drag it to the mod I want it to go to. To add a new rule, you go to plugins, hit manage rules, select the plugin you want to manage. So in this case for me is Bidgen all-in-one, and we want to load it after Wiko. And there's so many Wikos, so you'll have to do a bunch if you do this with Wiko specifically. So you can hit add. Visual now needs to load after Wiko. Yes, immersive-character.esp. And you want to do this with much more ones. And there you go. That is it. Patches load after those two. And once your mods got deployed, you've pretty much got it done. For dependencies, or in other terms rules, it can make or break your game. So you need to manage your rules accordingly. Take your time managing the rules and make sure everything is a-okay with your load order. Your load order is important when you're playing Skyrim VR or any modding at all. It's for any game. Hell, even Minecraft's the same way. Your load order is important. Little shameless plug here. This all entails to my Skyrim VR roleplay series. So if you want to watch it, it'll be in the cards up above, and you can watch the full playlist that is still ongoing, and it has all these 180 plus mods installed that go with it. There's so much is going on. I try to play as my character Wolfram as to the best of my abilities as a quote-unquote brand new person to Skyrim, brand new Nord to Skyrim. And I just try my best with role playing. I've never done it before, but I do it, and I'm excited to play it still. I love it. That is it for this video. If you want more how-tos and tutorials, or even other content like my role-playing series, or other funny moment content as well as other VR games, you can hit the subscribe button as well. If this helped you in any way, please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm and helps me. The next video I'm going to cover is regarding performance, as well as your physical ability to play Skyrim VR, such as motion sickness and eye strain, and how we can combat that and fix your issues. I hope you have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next one. Keep your soul free.